Another book review, and this time I'm reviewing The Realest Guy in the Room by Dan The Beast Severn. Interesting book for me to read, as some of you might know, I'm actually a huge fan of Ken Shamrock and Frank Shamrock. So, reading the autobiography of one of Ken's more famous and ongoing, still at this point in time, feuds, it's an interesting read. It's interesting reading about all the stuff he did before making his living as a full-time professional fighter. It's interesting reading about why he got into pro wrestling. One of the longest reigns as the NWA World Champion in modern history, anyway, with I think it was 4 or 5 years he was the champion. What's really interesting is the guy's work ethic that comes across in the book. So, just as an example, and this isn't hyperbole, I'm not being overdramatic here or embellishing. If he's going somewhere for the weekend, he will have an MMA seminar Saturday afternoon. He'll fight MMA Saturday night. Sunday, he'll have a pro wrestling seminar. Sunday evening, he'll have a pro wrestling match in the same city that he's in. Because if I'm going there for this, I might as well see if I can use up the rest of the time there and make some money doing it. His work ethic is amazing. His work diary, he probably goes through 2 or 3 a year, to be fair. Triple Crown winner in the UFC, in that he was a tournament champion. He was the UFC 5 tournament champion, the UFC Ultimate champion, and he was the World Super Fight champion. He, of course, was the second fight he had with Ken Shamrock was at UFC 9, which was the Detroit Dance, which was one of the longest and most boring matches in MMA history. Severn himself has called it the greatest psychological match in MMA history. I think that's being generous. It's a horrible match, you don't need to see it. Severn is one of only 4 men, I think, in MMA history to have over 100 wins. I think the other guys are Jeremy Horn, and I can't remember the name of the other 2. It doesn't really matter because this is about Dan Severn's book. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, if you're a fan of the early days of MMA, if you're a fan of having a work ethic, then I highly recommend you get the book. Can't speak highly enough about it. If you do get a copy of it, please do come back and leave a comment on the comment section of this review. Let me know what you thought about it. And please do like, share and subscribe. And happy reading.